Hey, today, guys, on the Carpet Cleaner Success Podcast, we have a good friend of mine, Shawn Barrett. Shawn is retired out of his carpet cleaning business in his early 50s. The focus of this interview today is how to start a carpet cleaning business in a town of 30,000 people and retire in your early 50s with financial freedom. So if that sounds intriguing to you, stick around. We're going to have a conversation and just kind of dig into the weeds and see how all of that happened and get some nuggets out as we go.
Welcome to the Carpet Cleaner Success Podcast, a show created to inspire carpet cleaning business owners to build their own thriving residential and commercial cleaning business. Your host, John Clendenning, has built and sold successful cleaning businesses for multiple six figures over his 30-year career and is the founder of Carpet Cleaner Marketing Masters, a digital agency that turns your online marketing into a lead generation machine. Tune in as John shares proven tips, strategies, and expert interviews to help fast-track your success in the carpet cleaning industry.
Welcome, Shawn. Thanks for joining the Carpet Cleaner Success Podcast, and I'm glad we finally were able to catch up and do this.
That's great, John. It's been too long since we've actually sat down and done something like this, so thank you.
Yeah, exactly. So just a brief bio on your background, who you are, where you're from, and just that kind of stuff. Just a little bit about Shawn and that kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Well, like you said, my wife Leslie and I, we actually late 80s into early 90s, right out of high school, we decided that we wanted to own a restaurant. So we started a deli in an up-and-coming city, and we were fortunate enough that, not knowing at the time, but looking back now, like a lot of the success principles we put into that restaurant are the same that flow through to duct cleaning, HVAC cleaning, whatever. So from like 89 to 92, I believe, we owned that, and we sold it for a profit. And the cool thing was a local franchise used to clean our carpets, and he hooked us on cleaning carpets. So my wife and I moved back home and started with 3 franchises in our local service area. As you said, it was around 30,000 people at the time. It's closer to 100,000 now in that service area, but yeah. Started that, and not too long after that, in 92, I think you and I probably met sometime in 94, 95.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Somewhere in there, and the cool thing for me at that time was that you and I were very like-minded, and being able to have that connection with a market mind to be able to come up with ideas that nobody else was doing, and just get all enthralled with that, and actually able to try this, and hey John, did you have any success with this? And, yeah, I did. And what about this? And just a tweak here, a tweak there certainly helped us expand our carpet cleaning business. And then from there, with the carpet cleaning business, what we actually did was we felt restoration services were probably going to be a bigger business for our local service area. So we actually backed on our carpet cleaning business to get them purchased in for that flood call with insurance companies, brokers, homeowners directly. And we were able to build a pretty decent restoration company up to 40 people, 22 vans, and we sold that in 2020.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff in between all that, but that's a quick version.
Yeah, no, that's good. And we'll dive into that as well, because you're right. It's that the part that we like to talk about on these podcasts, and I talk daily to carpet cleaners, whether they're clients of ours or just people learning what we do or how to grow their business. We're talking about that marketing mindset a lot, and it's something I'm really trying to drive home. How you wear multiple hats as a business owner. We talked about the 3 different hats that you wear, and you can take off the management hat. You take off the technician hat first. You should be, you might be the guy in the truck, but let's get somebody in the truck out working for you so that you can take that hat off as you grow the business. The next one might be the manager hat. You can have an office manager or a general manager as you grow and be the entrepreneur. But as we like to say, that marketing hat really is the entrepreneur and the owner of the business, is the visionary of the business. They have to see where the company's going. They don't have to know how to do all the little pieces, but they have to see where the company's going and get that messaging in the marketplace, why you're unique, and continue to learn that craft so that you can continue to stand out in a crowd and that kind of thing. So let's talk a little bit about the services that you offered, because again, you started with the carpet cleaning. You added the duct cleaning came along at one point. The restoration came along, and then even when the restoration came along, I remember popping up to your place and watching you giving seminars and building a dry room to hold to bring in the insurance adjusters in the area to see it and have them fill out an application to see if they qualified for you to be their vendor, turning the tables on them and all of that kind of stuff. So let's talk a little bit about sort of that progression from quote, just doing carpet cleaning to adding multiple services to grow to the next level, and thinking through that process. What you saw the writing on the wall that restoration was going to be bigger, but it's not an easy business just to jump into. So let's talk a little bit about sort of what took you, that gave you the gumption to take that next leap and actually invest that next level.
Yeah, I think, and I've heard you on some of your interviews and your YouTube channel talk about the E-Myth by Michael Gerber.
Yeah,
probably not a reader, probably the first book I ever read from start to finish, and probably the best investment I ever made back in the day. And it's still, everything in that book still stands today. And I think that book actually I think they have them, the E-Myth for HVAC, whatever. It really doesn't matter. It's all whatever the word would be. It's all to any service.
Yeah.
I just, for anybody watching this, if you've never read the E-Myth, it's just a book that you read, and you should grab I still like the hard copy, so I will write all over it and highlight areas so I can refer back to it. And that's just the way I learn, but great book. As far as, we were just very fortunate. I mean, I think something that we always preached was making sure that whoever you insure your business with, whether it's going to be for carpet cleaning, restoration, whatever, they're a real key source. For us, that was our first company to go. We insured ourselves with a very large brokerage in our area.
Yeah.
As we got the confidence and the training to do restoration, use them as a resource to get that first phone call. Any insurance industry has changed, but that's certainly still a focus. It's still about people at that level. It's not always about social media or flyers or however you're attracting your clients. Sometimes it is still a person. And for us, carpet cleaning, the natural progression, I think with any carpet cleaning company probably is cleaning, because now you can, that cleaning can be done very horrible.
Yeah.
And so, not unlike yourself, we got into the duct cleaning as well, and it was great to get us into fire jobs, and other jobs. So again, just setting hey, this is the company we want to call to, let's say, the cleanup during, after, and the duct cleaning. So that was the starting point, and it kind of blossomed from there because we wanted to. I still remember to this day thinking, man, if I could just stay awake 24 hours a day, I'd be rich, because I can just work 24 hours a day. And now I just go, oh my God, how could I even think that?
Yeah.
But at that time, I did feel that way. And it's really not about working in your business, working, right? And best advice we can give someone.
Yeah, and the working on your business part of it, again, there's that marketing that we talked about, because nothing happens until you until you make a sale. There's nothing else to do. And then the very next thing to do is deliver on that promise in the marketing message. and have staff that buy into that as well. So, making sure you're hiring well and getting great technicians who are representing the company in the home, in the restoration world, you've got great subcontractors you're working with, as well as the on-staff team and stuff like that, and making sure everybody buys in as well. And it's part of it is even, I like to always consider it, your marketing to the employees as well on why you want to deliver a great service, so that you're marketing to them. And I remember walking through your office and seeing the signs all over the place. Everywhere you turned to look, it wasn't a picture of a field of flowers. It was a sign with a message on it to the staff to keep ingraining in their heads what the company actually means. So you promise something to the world, and then you build the company that can deliver it as well. And all of that is still just a great marketing message. Just like we were talking about, or I'd mentioned earlier, like, when it expanded golf tournaments in the early days, I had client appreciation barbecues, which I didn't even know if anybody would show up. But back in my early days in Stratford, I went down by the Avon River and took a barbecue and invited people. And I had handpicked 5 or 6 people that I knew would show up, but it was like, how many packs of hamburgers did you need? But it was to get the name of the business out even more and have those conversations and stuff like that. And that was something that I know you did with the adjusters and agents, stuff like that, to hockey games and to golf tournaments, and actually invest back in your business. So on a carpet cleaning level, talk a little bit about because one thing I do notice is some cleaners are shy these days. I guess they always were, but I just see it a little bit more, not walking into carpet stores and having those conversations and having those referral sources, interior designers and real estate agents, and just that marketing outreach that needs to happen. Part of it just personally meeting people we talked about, but also the marketing outreach to get people to come out to lunch with you, or come to your drying room and an event that you're having in the facility and stuff like that. There's a lot of outreach and marketing that needs to happen there as well. So just if you remember a little bit of the stuff that you did, back in the day to get those things to happen, to make those connections.
Yeah, for sure. I think it is going to be some personal driven aspect. I mean, if that's not your comfort zone, and your comfort zone is just texting, I mean, eventually you got to. So and we're still human. I mean, there's still a connection. Whether they like you or don't like you, just be yourself and share what you're offering. I think we're missing that in today.
Yeah.
COVID. I think a lot of people still value that. So for us, things will, if there's an organization. So when we built the flood room, part of that was for the insurance companies for sure, but we also had a local college that was right into environmental studies.
Yeah.
And so not only would we flood it and dry it, we'd also do testing of microbial growth in the insulation and the floors and the walls. And we would invite the local college to bring their classes over, which then, of course, we would also media.
Yeah.
Put that on the news, newspapers, whatever. So that in itself, there was a book, and I know you and I have both read it, but Become the Obvious Expert. And I mean, we did that without saying we were the expert. We were obviously experts. All the local media were saying.
Yeah.
Again, a lot of it is just, if you want a job, then go be a carpet cleaner. If you want a business, then you got to think like a business owner. And and even back in our day when we had that, I think that was still the way a lot of people think. Well, I can make my $60,000 or $70,000 a year cleaning carpets, but a lot of times I think what people don't realize is running on cash. It's not really an investment. And then when you hit 50, 55, and 60, you have to retire. Are you going to carpet clean till you're 70?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. And are you going to sell the business for the price of the vehicles and the equipment, or are you going to sell it for the goodwill, the database, the name, and like, again, the authority that you've built that brand in your local marketplace up to? And that's a decision you have to make, not the year you plan to sell, but 20 years before. So
100%.
Yeah, I remember that phrase that you once, I think you brought up to me at one point, but it was that the difference of growing your business over 20 years versus running your business year one 20 times. That
Right.
you've never really moved beyond year one. You do the same things. You're just running year one again and again, and you didn't sort of expand and grow and learn and tap into all of these resources. Like this podcast is designed to be a resource, but the books, listening, I tend to, I remember the first time I saw one of your books, I was shocked because I always believed that books should be, revered and this pristine thing. I barely wanted to break the spine. I saw one of yours dog-eared and written on and highlighted. I think I borrowed one at one point. I went, holy crap, this is, this is butchered, but it made sense because you're coming back to the stuff. It's a study notes, right? So I kind of picked up that trait from you because it was a hard one because I always thought they should sit neatly on the bookshelf. You read them and then you put them down. But what I tend to do now is I listen to a book on the audio version of the book. And then if I'm getting a lot out of it, it turned out to be a good recommended book, regardless of what it is, whatever field it's in. And then I'll pick up the physical copy of the book to then listen to again with the book in front, read and listen and highlight and note and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, just a way to absorb the information. So.
Well, and I think we were both big proponents at one point in time, and I still do if I'm trying to learn Spanish.
Okay.
From a holiday perspective and what my plans will be, but Cybernetics, right, with Dan Kennedy and and just falling asleep listening to the same thing over and over. It's amazing. Sometimes I go, I don't even know where I learned that, but it's in there.
Yeah.
And again, a simple way for someone to be learning when they're sleeping.
Yeah. And if you're the guy in the truck, I guess if we're, we can go down many paths with this conversation because there's just so many things we won't even get to. But when you're driving around, you're the guy in the truck cleaning, or you've now handed over the cleaning and you're out doing the meeting and becoming the obvious expert and the authority in your marketplace. You're meeting with the carpet store owners and the flooring store owners and things like that. You're going to the chamber events and, making those connections of referral partners and stuff like that. You're out meeting commercial clients or whatever you're doing. There's a lot of time between stop to stop to stop, and you should be using your vehicle. Back in the day, we used to have to put cassette tapes in, and then CDs showed up, and you'd listen to CDs of people teaching you great marketing ideas and advice, and you get one nugget out of that 60-minute interview or listening to buying a course by Dan Kennedy or Michael Gerber or, Jay Abram or any of these guys, right? It's just, you buy the course, you learn a bit and you go, wow, can I use that in my marketing? Swipe and deploy. And today's day and age, it's like, you shouldn't be driving around listening to the Joe Rogan podcast. I think Joe's cool, but that's a waste of 2.5 hours of your time when you could be listening to The Game by Alex Hormozy. He's the guy, Gary Vaynerchuk or, anything Dan Kennedy and Russell Brunson put out and stuff like that, the whole magnetic marketing world and stuff like that. All of it is just, you're absorbing it. And then when you go to do something, you've got these ideas in your head. Oh, there's a better headline, or why don't I send this book in the mail with a little note on it and say, not to one guy, but to 5 people, but make it personal. And, hey, I just wanted to reach out. I read this book. I thought it was cool. And just, to somebody that you want to make a connection with in your local community. And a really good chance that they're not getting books sent in the mail by anybody else. And they'll call you up and thank you for the book. And there's the conversation starter. So.
And really, Don, like, just imagine, you're embedded in this, but me looking from the outside in, there was somebody who was putting out the kind of content that you're putting out back then.
Yeah.
I mean, how much, if they follow, and I think that's the key, is following it. Don't get it works. The concepts that you're sharing work. That. If you just get, other carpet cleaners, other service, I shouldn't just say carpet cleaners, but service industries to understand that. There's a formula for success all laid out for you. I mean, your book alone, I just go, wow, you're actually giving step-by-step processes as well, which back in the day, there wasn't a lot of that. There was a lot of theory and a lot of do this, and buy this and so on. And you have some of that, but I mean, your book alone, I just go, man, if you can't start a carpet cleaning business or a service business and follow that process, I don't know how much better it gets.
Yeah.
And it
No,
was
well,
what,
thank yeah,
$3.99 for your
yeah for yeah
right on
2.99 I think
Kindle,
it is
like
US, 3.99 Canadian for
yeah,
the Kindle version. Yep.
yeah. So I just go, man, that
Yeah.
again, if I was back in that realm and that part of my life,
Yeah.
that's $3.99 I ever spent.
Yeah. There you go. And it's like the interesting thing about internet marketing is we've been around like my carpet cleaning journey started in 95. In high school, I started doing window cleaning, as most of the people
Yeah.
listening to this know, and then jumped over the side of 40-story buildings till I realized, hey, wait a minute, people 1 in 10 jump, like fall to their death at one point if you keep up this career. So decided to go on the ground, and that was carpet cleaning, and started that whole thing. And then realized, bought into a franchise like you and I. We met at the same franchise. We bought into ChemDry and realized that franchises are good at selling franchises, but they're not, and they're good at selling their brand and the glossy. So, and it looks pretty, but it's not what resonates with people. You have to then decide, holy crap, now I need to learn marketing. I can't just hand that all off. So whether you're an independent business owner, because we both owned independent business outside of franchises, and in the franchise world, and you can kind of see that comparison. And whether it's the internet or not, the psychology is still the same. Who is your ideal customer? Who do you want to actually listen to the marketing message? Are you getting in front of them with the right words? Are you weeding out the ones you don't want because you're not trying to be everything to everybody? If you don't want the people that want $99 whole home cleaning, then let them know that you offer the finest quality cleaning at a reasonable price. Prices start at $200, $250. They're not going to call you if that's right in your ad. If you're looking for a cheap discount cleaning, please call somebody else. That was in all of our Yellow Page ads. That was near the headline of there's a headline, and that same psychology still works today when somebody lands on your website. Well, what is your website? Well, it's got to convert. It's got to influence and convert. They came there for a reason. So they're at least in the game. They found your website from an ad or from seeing the van on the driveway, somebody's driveway, whatever. But when they come there, how do you keep them there? There's a psychology involved. So you don't show the picture of the baby lying on the carpet, because everybody shows the picture of the baby lying on the carpet. Show the team, show the owner, why you got into this business, things like that. Have your risk reversal guarantee right up at the top. If you choose us, here's what we're going to do differently. You've got to be different in the marketplace and stand out, and then become the authority. And then people will refer you. Your customers will, and referral partners will as well. So it's not much different than putting out 50 or 100,000 flyers in a new market to open up to open up a new area, a new territory. And, back in the day, it wasn't the internet. It was, get in the Yellow Pages. It'll eventually, the crappiest leads, but you get a volume of them, and you work your way through the ones that are willing to choose you with a good script. And then you just blanket market into the ideal neighborhoods, the message that you want. And it's not about a discount and a deal. It's about what you do differently with a good marketing message. And it starts to build that momentum. And the internet's the same way. It's just a different medium. It's, marketing is just message, market, and medium. And the message is the psychology. It doesn't change. People still fear the same things. And the market is how you're marketing them is still the same crowd. Your market is who you want. The medium is the only part that changes over time. So,
and it's probably become more costly. It has come more cost effective as well. Than
yeah.
Think about the money we used to spend on Yellow Pages.
How much was an average? Sorry to cut you off. How much was an average customer? Because you knew your numbers well as well. If you can remember back, the average carpet cleaning customer who finally came through a Yellow Page ad. So you put call tracking numbers in. 99% of carpet cleaners didn't. We did. You put a call tracking number in. How many people came from the Yellow Pages versus this? How much did I pay the Yellow Pages? Because again, that's where you found your cold leads, was people would flip through the Yellow Pages when they really didn't have a name in mind. And at the end of the day, you may have paid, like we were paying at $1,500-$6,000 a month to the Yellow Pages, because it was the number one source of cold leads, and then doing all the database marketing, everything else on top of it. But if you remember back, what was the average cost to buy a new customer after they called and then you finally booked them in? At the end of the year, you've got X number of carpet or customers from the Yellow Pages for that, as much as $30,000-$40,000 a year investment to be in a number of the different books. Do you remember back what the average cost of an actual customer was back in the day?
And I mean, it varied every year, because I think as you and I talk more, it depends on how many points of contact you were having every
Yeah.
month with a client as well, right? But I'm pretty sure the first meeting was free, and if that average was $150 at the time,
Yep.
it was free, and the whole idea was to have a good enough funnel so that you kept it as a client, so that the next one was more or less pure profit, and so on down the line. So hence why that offer of free carpet cleaning, because we were almost doing it for free anyway with all of our lead generating. We might as well give them a free carpet cleaning.
Yeah. Find your ideal customer, and if they're right for you, offer to do that one room for free. That's been around for decades now, but it's still, it's a great offer. What we teach people right now is, like, if you want a great referral partner, reach out, make that contact, just say, hey, your clientele are people that use our types of services. You're an interior designer, you have a higher end clientele. Sometimes they need their chaise lounge cleaned, their carpet cleaned, whatever. You're not replacing everything in the whole house, and you've now renovated the upstairs and the rec room needs a cleaning and stuff like that. You're a great referral source. Let me come and clean a couple rooms in your house for free. Let's have that conversation. Let me show you why we do things differently, how we do it, and see if we can be your referral, the person you refer. But let's lead with the giving hand. Let me come and clean for free. We try and teach all of our clients, like, make sure you're doing that outreach, not once a month, like once a week. Pick somebody else that you're giving a free cleaning to that could be, even just in that sense, a referral partner. But yeah, good neighborhoods, you could be offering the neighbor one room free just to try you out if it's around a golf course road or around your ideal customer and stuff like that. So what I remember it was about $82 was the last number I had before Yellow Pages, crashed and burned during the, as 2007 iPhones were invented or came on the market. And within a short period of time, the recession happened, and you come out of the recession, you're pumping back your marketing again, and realize that these little consumer devices became where the attention of the audience went. So they went away from needing to look at the Yellow Pages to find anybody or other areas, because they've now, even grandma and grandpa, ended up checking out Facebook and things like that, and on the internet, and they learned how to do basic searches. So it became the new attention thing. But about $82 was the last number I remember, average cost to buy a customer from the Yellow Pages. And I think it's funny, I was just talking to one of our clients the other day there, and they were a little concerned that it cost them $15 for a lead from Facebook to raise their hand and say, I'm interested in your cleaning services. Now, Facebook's disruptive. They didn't type in looking for a carpet cleaner on Facebook, right? They do on Google for Google ads and your rankings of your website. But on Facebook, we try and target the ideal demographic, a 35 to 55-year-old college university educated woman who's managing the household, has a career outside, and usually has 2 kids and a dog. That's the average client, right? And for a decent carpet cleaning business, and that person is on Facebook. So let's target some ads in front of those people that meet that demographic in your marketplace. But $15, even if it takes you 5 of them before one books, and the other 4 you had to have a text message conversation with, oh gosh, God forbid, you just bought that customer for $75. That's still less than it cost us in 2004 with the Yellow Pages, right?
And what's an average, because as I mentioned, Jim, I'm in the loop on a lot of this stuff now since I've sold the businesses, but like, is $350 an average sale, 400? Yeah,
so anywhere between 300 should be sort of like your average job at the lowest end. If you're below that, there's a lot you can do to bring your average job up. You're trying to sell on price, not on service, quality, and value. And customers buy on value. The best customers and the ones that come back year after year buy on value. The ones that buy on price, you probably won't see them the next time anyways. So again, as we said, why waste your money on them? Give a free cleaning to somebody who actually pays well in your marketplace for the services. But 300 is a bottom end. We've got some clients that their average job is over 600 in just carpet cleaning, right?
So they're easily, even after their costs and their expenses, they're easily doubling that $75 Facebook generated ad. Yeah.
For that one. And the other thing that we did in the sort of the grunt grassroots, wish we had systems that worked better, is, everybody called up on the phone. That was your number one way of getting leads. You picked the phone up right away. And if you get their phone number either from caller ID or ask them, hey, if we get disconnected, what's the best number to call you back on? And at the end of the call, as technology advanced, and again, I don't want to sound like the old dog. Oh my gosh, I remember the day when you had to wait 3 hours for the computer to boot up and stuff like that, but it felt like it now. But we asked for the email address so that we could send over what we just discussed. If they didn't book by the end of the sales script conversation, then you asked for the email address. Why? Because now the next day your office person was to call them up if they didn't book yesterday, send them the information, call them the next day, see if they're ready to make a decision, wait 2 or 3 days, have that list of people, call them again, send them an email, and just start dripping on them all of your good marketing until they either, buy or tell you to go away, which either one is totally fine. Either they're not qualified to be one of your clients, or you're chasing them because you're not going to get them all from that first conversation. You have to have lead nurture built in. So building a lead database that was just a piece of paper on the desk beside you in the day is now so much easier with technology. Every lead that comes in, they've either come through a phone number that's recorded, digitally on call tracking, or they filled out a form on Facebook that's now into a lead database that you can text message them and drip on them and tell them why you started this business and, the charities you're involved in, and just get them to start to know you. So if they didn't book right away, maybe 3 months, 6 months, 9 months from now, are you still messaging that lead, not just your database, but that lead, so that, you now can influence them, right? So that goal was like, that didn't change. That we just had to do it with pen and paper back in the day. So
we did, and I think it was the Kennedy has resonated with me, was that if you're not pissing off at least 1 or 2 people a day with your marketing, you're not marketing hard. And then the reverse happens, because you'd send out your postcards or your reminders to people or whatever, and they would literally call the office apologizing that they just don't need your services right now, but they'll call us another time. So your marketing's working when that happens.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about the number of touches that you used to put, like, segmenting your database. Some clients weren't worth that many touches. Some clients were the apartment rentals. You got them, but you might as well still stay in front of them. They paid your minimum charge, but they're probably moving out soon and they don't own the carpet. They don't care about it as much. And then some of your clients were like, off-white carpet, off-white furniture, off-white dog, off-white everything. And they just want it cleaned 3 times, 5 times a year. Right. And everything in between. And segmenting your database to know those is one step, but then how many times do you touch them? And I think the listeners might be a little bit shocked when you mention your A-list customers. How many times would you touch them in a year on average?
Yeah, it was. You'll have to forgive me, I don't know 100% off the top of my head, but we were in that over 5 times a month.
5 times a month. I remember 40 to 50 was the number that we used to talk about, because we would tell other people, that, like other carpet cleaners and franchise and business owners and stuff like that, and they're going, what? How are you not be like? I talk to them once or twice a year. I reach out if it's a reminder, and it's like, well, if you do it well enough, then you want to be a welcome guest, not an annoying pest. And that's as long as you're giving them something of value, they're not going to be annoyed that you keep sending them stuff.
And I think a couple things you did really well, and that is everything that we did was from like our family.
Yeah.
So every marketing piece that went out, we'd have pictures of my daughter going to school and had a crayon written Happy Father's Day postcard. Yeah. And people resonated with us because we were just, this is going back to even when you're going out and marketing person to person.
Yeah.
We're people. We're just people. We're just people trying to run a business and give you good service. And if I see you on the street, I remember you talking about this on another interview. Like, I never had to cross the street once because I upset somebody with cleaning or with our restoration service. It's a small community. If we're at the hockey arenas together, I want to make sure that person is who we're talking to.
Yeah.
So it's everything you do, which I think is something that you've talked about many times before too. It's not marketing is everything. It's just not the media that you're using. It's your names, it's your uniform, it's the show you put on in the house, it's the follow up after, it's everything that you do.
Yeah, it's at the end of the street where you had the flower shop that airbrushed the name of your business on the, were they
Yeah.
yellow roses or carnate yellow? They're,
That we gave out was,
yeah. And every customer, you arrive to the door, hey, thank you for allowing us in our home. And you give them a little gift bag and a flower. Like,
yeah.
nobody has to do that stuff, but that's the amount of how memorable that is. Well, where does that come from? Well, that didn't come from, hey, Shawn Barrett is the smartest marketer on the planet ever, and he just came up with this in a dream one night. It was somewhere along the way, learning about marketing, absorbing that information. And somebody said, hey, I always do this. Every customer that we go and see, we hand them something. And it was like, what can I hand them? And it's creating that next memorable moment, right?
Really
So
is.
yeah,
It
if
really
everything
is.
you're like, if your vans, if you leave you leave the shop and drive through a car wash before you head out, out on the road, you make sure your equipment's clean and neat and tidy. Does it have to be? No. Do your technicians, do they have to wear khaki pants versus jeans? No, they don't. Do they have to wear, neat looking indoor shoes and outdoor shoes and roll out a red carpet and put booties on when they're walking around with the client, hand the client booties to walk around and look at the job afterwards and deliver a full client experience? Do they ever have to do that? No. We see pictures of, we ask some of our clients, send us pictures of your team, and they're in jeans and like a long hockey jersey. And that's the technician out cleaning. It's like, yeah, the customer might like you, but you're not referable. You didn't create a referable moment by just taking it up that notch to that professionalism that stands out and makes you look different. And that's all marketing. Every bit of it's marketing.
It is. And your brand can charge more when you do those little things. And so instead of cleaning 4 or 5 houses a day, you clean 2 because you're making the same kind of money at better margins.
Yeah. Yeah, as we always say to clients, like the internet's a mixed bag, no different. Like back in the day, it was flyers, everything was flyers. And it was like, hey, how can I design that one flyer? What's that one offer? I get those calls every day still. What is the best? What, should I be doing Facebook? Should I be doing Google, Google pay-per-click? Should I be doing local service ads now? Should I, what should I be doing? What is the best offer that I should put out? We get asked that almost all the time from our new clients is, what's the best offer, John? And my answer is the best offer is the one that resonates with your clients right now. So what are you split testing? What is your A/B test right now? Have you put something out that became the control and it's working, and test something against it? Always be testing and tracking, right? Because the offer is not going to be, there isn't one great offer. It's what's resonating and how can you deliver a message around the offer. Is it Father's Day? Well, could you give out a barbecue set with, hey, book for Father's Day and you'll get a $60 barbecue set for free with your carpet cleaning? Buy a bunch of them on Alibaba nowadays. So much easier to get than from the wholesale guys we used to have to find them from. And now they've got the barbecue set as an offer just on Father's Day. If you don't sell out all of them this year, guess what? You got some for next year's promotion. Things like that. It's just thinking through, right?
It really is. And again, I just got to reiterate, without giving you too much of a plug here. What is, anybody in our age bracket didn't have the tools that you and others are sharing with. Yeah. And it's just the information that's provided. It's just, I don't know how much simpler it can get. I still don't understand why someone would go wearing jeans and a jersey of some type to clean or do plumbing or do whatever. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
You used to have, your staff all used to wear ties.
Shirts and ties.
Right?
It's like it was painful when I finally switched to the polo shirt. It was painful. It's like, I didn't want them to stop. It's just like, it finally became sort of a cultural thing where it just like, it was probably only, I sold 2.5 years ago, my final brick and mortar business. I think it was probably only about 5 years before that we got rid of the ties. So it was still, 2015 or somewhere 14 somewhere that I finally said, okay, we will go with very, very neat and tidy polo shirts with the khaki pants and stuff. But yeah, it was because the ties still stood out. Well, every customer would say, why are you wearing a tie to clean carpets? Because we provide a professional service and we want to look professional in your home. That was the script. It was a script, right? So,
and again, you were probably the first person who really helped our office understanding. We had a script, but until it was put in put in front of the staff that were actually doing the selling in-house and on the phone at the time.
Yeah.
Well, that script was so important, especially the close.
Yeah.
Not asking for them, well, you're not going to get the close.
Yep. No, and it's like there's a psychology to every moment of sale. So it's some of it came naturally because oddly, I'm a naturally shy fellow. So I chose carpet cleaning to put myself in front of customers, to force myself to have to go into homes, because I didn't want to just be a factory worker or you know, somebody that shied away from society. So I did that in my early 20s as a way to challenge myself as self-improvement, you know, reading Tony Robbins and all that fun stuff. And that was my entry into carpet cleaning. And when I got a no, I took it painfully direct. It's like, oh, so the next customer, the next driveway I pulled in, I would say something slightly differently, and eventually start getting yeses, more yeses than nos, and went, oh, well, that's the way I should say that. It was just naturally intuitive to keep myself out of pain, you know, as they say. And then I started learning neuro-linguistic programming and just sales scripting, and started picking up when you went into a commissioned sales place and hear that somebody's been trained and they're actually weaving you through a conversation and going, I know what you just did there. You just did the assume close and you did, you know, whatever. And it's good to learn, but your front office staff need to know that. The people answering your phones need to know that. 20 years ago, answering the phone on your hip while out cleaning was definitely a recipe for failure, because you couldn't deliver that you know, scripted response that converted more people to a yes booking and understood why they should choose you over somebody else and make that differentiation. You couldn't do that while you're standing in front of the customer or cleaning their couch, and you just pause for a second. And we learned that early on, that was actually one of the secrets to success. Is if all of our competitors were still just answering the phone while out in the job, we were going to be twice as busy as them, just by having somebody on the phones answering properly. In today's day and age, the phone call is only about 50% of the time. The other 50% of the time, people want to text. So you better have chat to text of some sort on your website, and the person answering better treat that as a phone call. You've got about, you know, less than a minute to get back to them by text, and some automation that starts talking to them right away. And even when they fill out a form on your website, back in the day, I was guilty of it too, that we would check the email inbox in the morning, maybe midday, and at the end of the day. Nowadays, you should be alerted the second a new request comes in, and you're right on the horn with them. We actually built into one of the tools we have for our websites, Carpet Cleaner Lead Pro, the second somebody fills out a form on your website, your phone rings in the office, you pick it up. If you can take that call, like you're not busy, which you shouldn't be, somebody should be answering the phones. You press 1 and you immediately connect with the person who just filled out the form. If they can't take the call, they get a text message saying you just tried to call them, right from the system, saying, hey, we just tried to give you a quick call. I noticed you filled out a form. How else can I help you? And you try and start the text communication if they're not in a place they could take a phone call. But just by filling out a form on the website, you should be on the phone with that person or on text with them within 1 minute, because your chances 80% higher chance of converting just by doing that. So,
and that I mean, that goes for every server, right? Like plumbers, HVAC guys.
Everybody.
I mean, it's just they're amazing tools that are available. That I mean, I know what I spent roughly over the years with educating myself and stuff, and I'm pretty sure we're in the same range. Like there's hundreds of thousands of dollars of information that's gone into all your systems.
Yeah.
And I love that you said you scan and clone it, or clone it and can it, and just carry that on. Just you know, why reinvent the wheel when you have things that are working? It just doesn't make any sense to me. But
and that whole implementation is everything. Lock and load it. Like when you learn something new, put it in place. Plan your first iteration of everything to be like, when you look back on it, laughable, which is fine, but you still did it. Nothing has to be perfect. Just iterate, put something in place, lock it into a system where it happens every time, and then move on to the next and move on to the next. So your business is growing because you're building systems. That's that working on your business. If you're working in your business, you never get to this point of developing this. So if you can step away and work on your business, even if it's just 1 day a week at the beginning, and then 2 days a week, and eventually you're working on your business, training technicians to say things the way you say it, to show the customer the spots and the stains and the before and afters the way you show them, stuff like that. You're creating a system in the company that's repeatable, And now you're working on your business, and you can continue to say, okay, what can we do next month? What can we do next month? As a marketing thing, plan a month in advance. Eventually that becomes, hey, what's the year look like? Like you and I both had a yearly marketing calendar, not year one, but by year 5 or 6 in the business, there was, hey, I know what I'm doing every month of the year, what promotions are running out, what types of, campaigns I'm running. And it was in advance, the budget was ready and everything. So, and now you're just iterating, hey, can I tweak this and make it a little bit better? Can I split test this a little bit now? Because that's a great back to school flyer or offer or mailing or phone call sequence. And yeah, so can I tweak it, do a split test and send this to 2,000 of our database and this to 200 and see if the 200 beats the 2,000 as a control. And if it does, we're gonna ramp that up next time and maybe do half and half and try and see if we can beat the control and just get better and better. Because I learned something new over the last few months that I want to try when it gets back to September and back to school, marketing and things like that. So, but yeah. So it's kind of a weird conversation to have when we're talking about internet marketing and how to get your internet marketing right. But again, Carpet Cleaner Success Series is all about, these are the sort of like the tried and true stuff that you've got to get back to. If you've known them before and kind of forgotten and let things fall off, let's reinvigorate that. And if you didn't know them before, go out and start self-studying, like learn this stuff inside and out.
Most definitely.
Cool. So, I think we've had a good conversation. I think we've left with a lot of nuggets of value. People are going to go back and re-listen to this again and have a bunch of questions. But just in a close here, what nuggets, any additional nuggets of wisdom you would give to, say, go back 30 years and 30 years ago, Shawn was starting a business right now in today's day and age in the home service industry, home cleaning, home service industry. What advice would you give to yourself that it took you the years in business to sort of learn and really refine? What would you say to as a parting shot advice to the listeners?
Yeah, I mean, Dan Kennedy always used to say this: you don't delegate the marketing or the money. And I'm a firm believer in not delegating the marketing without understanding it. But I think you need to delegate, you need to delegate the media, but not the message.
Yeah.
It's more. And, well, man, I would have been retired at 40 if we had system years in place back then instead of creating them for 30 years. Got to that point. So if I was going to start again, I would research everything, your systems. I would, if it was in the HVAC, I'd find out who are the marketers in the HVAC industry as well. I'd learn about them. Yeah. And then also what I love about carpet cleaning, HVAC, the plumbers, whatever it is, swipe and deploy. I would just, hey, that's something the HVAC guys are doing that I could perfectly. I think don't be so narrow-minded.
Yeah.
Take it all in and figure out what you can do on your end to do that. Automate yourself and systemize yourself.
No, and that's great advice. It's just, there's so much going on nowadays. If there's a landscaping guy in your neighborhood that's TikToking every day and it's got his little 1-minute videos and he's doing 2 or 3 a day and blowing up with followers, follow him, learn from him. Can you adapt that? Like that's, there is the roofer. Is there one roofing company standing out among all the other ones? And what do they do different? How is their message different? Are they, we're a family owned business. Here's grandpa that started it. Here's dad. Here's me. Are they doing that? Or are they trying to hide behind, logos and graphics and without telling you who they are? You can start picking up these little pearls of wisdom from even the market around you, realizing that the best businesses actually marketed themselves to that point. They didn't just get lucky. There is a million roofers and a million landscapers and a million, stereo installation businesses and carpet cleaners and pool services. But in every town, there's really only 1 or 2 that are kind of every area that has become the authority and stand out, and double check what they're doing marketing wise. And you'll realize it's light years different than what the average person's doing. They're investing more in their marketing. We didn't really get into that, but I tell everybody that 15 to 20% is the sweet spot, and stay closer to 20% of your revenue going to marketing, because that takes you from 200,000 to 275, 300,000 the next year to 400,000 the next year to, oh my gosh, there's no more carpet cleaning customers in my area. It's not big enough to go to 600, 800,000, but I should open up a duct cleaning and a hardwood floor cleaning because I've got this database and I know how to market now. And it's the same demographic. Let me give them more services and let's build this to $1 million business or whatever you want to get to. But it's by investing in the marketing and not trying to say, well, I don't really market. I rely on word of mouth. Well, word of mouth is still turning people to go, okay, well, should I trust these guys? Let me go see what they look like around. Let me ask other people. Let me check the internet. Let me see what they're all about. And that's all marketing as well. So invest in it as well is a big message we like to say, not just because we do digital marketing. We don't want to be, the bulk of your marketing, but it's part of a mix, but you should be investing in your marketing and your marketing knowledge. So, well, thanks for jumping on. I hope everybody got something out of this. Hope it's another one of those great interviews where you go back and listen to it over and over again and bookmark it and write down the things that inspired you to do something and aim at those, and send us a message and tell us which things you liked, which things you actually are planning to implement, and that way we can even tailor more of these conversations and some of the master classes we do to the things that you need to know more information about. So anyways, thanks, Shawn, for hopping on. I really appreciate it. And we look to catch up with you soon, and I'll let you know what the listeners say about this episode.
Sounds good, John. Thanks so much.
Okay, take care.